Hey folks, I hope everyone's keeping healthy and sane in these. We're like a year in now into this thing. Um, so I'm just going to talk about a little amp I just got recently. It's called Megatone. It's a guy, Dale Lasley in North Carolina, has a company, makes guitar amps, and then he got together with a um, harp player in North Carolina, Mike Wesolowski, and they basically took an old Masco ME18 and hot rodded it with these extra features. So these are the controls for the amp. Here's a closer look what it looks like. A fellow in Ontario, not too far from where I live, did this fantastic Tolex job. And these are the tone controls for the amp. You've got, or rather the knobs that you get. You get a tone control, bright to dark, and it's got what's a pull switch for, makes it a bit kind of thicker sounding. The volume also has a pull switch for a kind of a boost. It makes things a lot more gnarly when you're using the amp on a 30-watt full clean setting. If you use this pull boost thing judiciously, it sounds, pretty good. It's sort of the law of diminishing returns when you get things so distorted. By default, this amp is sort of designed to be, kind of, like a Masco ME18. It's, in fact, the circuitry is totally based on it, except it's been sort of hot rodded. And so like these two features already you don't get. And this pad switch you don't get on an M18. And it's kind of like an anti-feedback thing, a little bit similar to a Kinder anti-feedback, but different. It does, used again judiciously, I think, kind of, you can, depending on your settings and what else you got going on, can, when you put it on counterclockwise like that, it's like a noise gate, a huge noise gate, but used around here, it can sound pretty good. Anyway, and what I've got in this amp is the speaker. It's a 110 combo, as I said. That is a Jensen Blackbird Alnico speaker with a honkin' magnet on it. Sorry, you can't really see it because it's black and it's dark in there. But it is, it's a 100-watt Alnico. He recommends getting it with a couple other speakers. I like the Alnico sound. I mean, I have some ceramic speakers, which I like too. I did try it with a Jet Tornado personally. Again, for my sound, I like it kind of a darker sound. I ended up going with this speaker. Anyway, there you go. Let's do some tests here, and I'll show you, take you through. So to start off, but I'd show you the power sweep. You've got a power knob from 30 watts to 15 watts. So I'll take you backwards, going from a full setup, no knobs engaged, as in pull switches on the fat, just straight up. So this microphone, by the way, I'm using a crossover in G. This is kind of like a darker, warmer, cleaner RE10. So it's already, everything's pretty dark, but I kind of like that because it kind of gives a certain thickness. What we hear in an amp and what we like is so subjective. So that's, I kind of like the sound. Anyway, so here we are. So it's close on the edge of feedback. So I'm going to engage the pad switch, which adds like a bit like a anti-feedback, and it kind of adds some nice tonal colors. If I put it on full, this is what happens. It really tightens up the sound. It's a bit of a noise gate. It's too much for my tastes, so I would, pull that back a bit. pull the volume boost, this is what happens at full power. So it thins out the sound a lot, but you kind of need the pad switch in there to prevent feedback. But it's kind of a cool distorted sound. Not my sound, but it. And then if I pull the fat switch as well. I gotta turn the tone down a bit because it's kind of on the edge of feedback. You know, not really my sound, but some people might dig that. So I'm gonna. The rest of this demo, I'm not going to use the pull volume boost. It's not my thing. But I do like the pull fat switch. So here it is with that engaged. With some volume. It's just more controlled. I'm almost not going to tell you everything I'm doing, you know, because it's just too much talking. I'm just going to play around with some settings, but if I'm making a really obvious change, like the power switch, I'll share that with you guys and stuff. Turn it up a bit, just to get it to bark a bit more. Yeah. And it's almost still too much distortion for me, but let's roll it back to about 2/3 power. You know, maybe it's going to be, you know, just over 20 watts or something. So still sounds kind of the same. I would turn up the tone a bit. Yeah, you know, turning the power down now. It's, you know, as I turn the power down, I can turn the volume up because it's not going to feed back. It's going to be lower wattage. So that's just a little shy of noon. It's at 11 o'clock. So maybe, who knows? I don't know what it is. Less than 20 watts. And let's just turn the power down now. It's like a 15-watt amp. I've turned the power to its minimum setting. I also actually got Dale to make this accept 6 V6s. So it can be a 7.5 watt to 15-watt amp. But with 6 L6s, which it has in there now, it's a 15. I prefer it with the 15 to 30 watt. It just sounds better. But yeah. So now it's at its minimum setting. For all the last few things I've been doing, I've had the pull fat switch engaged. So now it's a lot quieter. So I can put the volume up. I've got the pad on just a bit. I would turn, for me, I would turn the tone down a little bit and then turn the volume up a little bit. Nice little bark to it, And on the high end, a dynamic mic, it's going to have a different color with different microphones. I'll put a post up of a guy, I don't know who he is, I'm not a professional player, but he demos a bunch of different mics. And actually one of the best sounding mics, he had a couple of bullet mics, but I actually thought the 57 sounded the best. This is like similar to a 57, but it's different. And then Dave Barrett, anyway, and there's another guy, Scotty. I'll put a link up to that because he's got the amp in a big warehouse space. He's got the 210 version with the Jet Tornadoes, and the thing is just ripping. He's using a controlled reluctance mic, and it's just ripping your head off. And with the room acoustics, it sounds big and huge. Believe it or not, this room actually has a lot of padding in it for recording and stuff. It's kind of my living room. So things are a bit deader in here. All right, hope you enjoyed that. Over and out.